So the topic today is the color of love. And when I looked at that, I thought, who did this? I did. Because I don't really know the color of love. Because how many of us really know what love is? The song, William, was so beautiful because we've been working on change a long, long, long time. And it's been growing and growing and it's happening, but all of us want it faster. But the thing I know is that we feel it inside, the change that we want, for us to come together in a new, more glorious way, a way of acceptance and joy and goodness. And the piece of that, the healing piece, Dr. Martin Luther King said, I am convinced that the most durable power in the world is love. Ernest Holmes said, love is the grandest healing power in the universe. But what is love? The Greeks had at least 6 names for love, and I can't pronounce them all, but I know my favorite. Eros, or sexual passion, but that wasn't where I was starting. But that's not a bad one at all. But anyway, philia, or deep relationship, and deep friendship, brotherly love. Ludus, or a playful love. That's my favorite. Playful, play, joy, where you just break yourself open and can have fun with people, and I love that one. Pragma, or long-lasting love. Kirk, that's what we have so far. And this one I can't pronounce, philatia, or love of self. And actually they had 2 kinds of that. The love of yourself because you love yourself, because you're worthy, your life has meaning, you feel good about yourself, and the narcissistic, overly self-indulgent love. So you got to be a little careful there. The last one is the one that we're talking about today, and that's agape love. And this book just fell off my shelf this morning, and it had the best definition of love. I didn't even know I had this book, but it's great. Spirit does that to me. Anyway, agape love means feeling and expressing pure, unlimited love for every human being with no exception. Raise your hand if you're there. Oh, okay, no, not quite yet. Oh, and it expresses love is action, which we know. Goodwill, kindness, forgiveness, and compassion towards others. And so that's the journey we're on, and that's why we're here today. You know, I've quoted several times, Bill Kramer writes for the St. Timothy Bulletin, and he sends me his little reflections, and his reflections always have depth, but also a warmth and compassion to them. And I read one this morning, and it was about St. Francis, and when he did Pope Francis, and when he does his homilies about caring for the poor and those that are suffering, he talks about the sin of indifference. And Bill, that really woke me up, because that's such a big deal. We get so toughened up in our life that we just get immune to the suffering that's going on. And we don't think we can do anything, and we don't know what to do, so we push it away. And we don't know what to do. And what Pope Francis said, it's that we've forgotten how to weep. We've forgotten how to weep. We get so hardened and in a shell that we don't know how to weep for others or weep for ourselves, because we toughen up. So love is the great adapter. Love is what allows us to love and cry and feel and be all of it, and still love all of ourselves and all of life, what it is and what it is not. We say that every Sunday. We can handle that when we love. It's just like that quote I said, we make the best of the things we have. So on that end was a little tougher part, the sin of indifference, but I also have something else here that I thought was so cute. And I remember one of our congregants, because I've read this a long time ago, and Virginia von Hartmann, which we had her memorial service recently, and she used her playful love on this. She loved this, and she always wanted to hear it more and more. But what does love mean? And this was asked to a bunch of teachers, got together, a group of teachers, to ask some 4 to 8-year-olds, what does love mean? And they said the answers were deeper and more meaningful than they could imagine. I'm not going to read all of them, just a couple, but they're so sweet. When my grandmother got arthritis, she couldn't bend over and paint her toenails anymore. So my grandfather does it for her all the time, even when his hands hurt with arthritis too. That's love. Rebecca, age 8. Love is when you go out to eat and give somebody most of your French fries without even asking for any of theirs in return. And that's Chrissy, age 6. Love is when you tell a guy you like his shirt and then he wears it every day. That's Noelle, age 7. Love is like a little old woman and a little old man who are still friends, even after they know each other, have known each other for all this time. That was Tommy, age 6. And here's the last one for today. I think I'll sprinkle them out through this month of love. Love is what's in the room with you at Christmas if you stop opening presents and just listen. That's Bobby, age 7. Oh my gosh, we have a lot to learn from kids, don't we? But today is about the agape love, and we're going to do a little test. You know, it's hard as individual human beings when so often we feel separate and alone because we're dealing with our own stuff, that we can realize there's something so much bigger going on. We hear the truth that God is all there is and everything's going to be all right because that's just the way life is. We have semi-faith in life is good. We have a little bit of faith. We have that, but we're not to the point yet where we can truly believe that we are all one, right? You look at some people and you go, I am not one with that. But we are. And that's what our lesson here is in this world, because true love is accepting all that is and all that is not. It's a wholeness that happens. It's a purity and a diversity all in one. And so when we think about that, and I'd like to read, I read the Martin Luther King one, but this is a bond. It says emotion, love, agape love is beyond emotion and physical or romantic love. It's a bond that connects, an energy that heals, and an experience that enlivens us. Truly, it's about being fully alive, the wholeness of life. So it's not just all the warm, mamby-pamby, sweet feelings of love. It's the whole life experience, and we're there to learn and grow. I think it was last week, or the week before, when I think, Barbara, you were up here reading about Rumi, and you said, it's the wound that lets the light in. It's the learning that comes, and that's all part of this agape love. But we have to understand that life has so many different expressions, and it's all, there's one God, one light, one goodness from which it all comes. And so if we look at life that way, and I want the picture up there if you don't mind, Lois, this is a helpful way to realize this light on the left is the light of God. It's pure and it's clear, but it holds the spectrum of colors. That prism that's in the middle, to me, represents the creative potential and intelligence and wisdom of spirit that responds to us, that's creative. And spirit works in this creative mind to produce this rainbow of light, all the different colors, all those different expressions of God, of goodness, of the one light. What color are you in that rainbow? I don't know. But that rainbow, that one light holds all the colors. And that's how we can have oneness and multiplicity. That multiplicity is so important for us to be able to just see that in our minds, that yes, each person is an individual expression of God having their own unique experience. Some we understand, some we don't, but it's all part of the one light. How many of you like rainbows? A lot more than the agape love thing, but yes, we got all those hands up on that one. You think of you remember the rainbows you've seen, especially the double rainbows, and once in a while a triple rainbow, because it shows, it's really, a rainbow is an expression of God's love. In the Bible, it says, God says in Genesis, I have set my rainbow in the clouds. You can think of the clouds, the tough times in our life. I have set the rainbow in the clouds as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth, the connection, the oneness that's there. In Christianity, a rainbow usually means that better things are yet to come. This was a sign to Noah that yes, it's flooding, but the flood's not going to last forever. In most cultures, a rainbow is a symbol of hope. For Dorothy, she knew that somewhere over the rainbow, dreams come true, that there was a bridge to something greater. Now, in modern times, the rainbow's been a symbol of many things, but the diverse colors in the rainbow represent now the diversity of sexual orientation, and so it's become a rainbow flag for the LGBTQ movement to show there are many aspects, a spectrum of sexuality, a spectrum of humanity, a spectrum of everything. It's all part of the human experience. So we get to say, okay, what are we going to do with all this? How are we going to use that, what we know, this agape love that we're seeking to get to? How are we going to use it? Well, first of all, we have to see where we're denying love to come in our life. Ernest Holmes says, denying love is the greatest problem we have. Can you think in your life where you're not accepting something, someone, because of whatever reason? We have to work on that, because embracing love is the only answer. What would love do in this situation? That's our question. How can we handle this with a more open, accepting heart, that we know that what's in here for us, we can't see, but it's love, because we all come from that light. Remember, in that light, God is love. We all come from that. Here's what my buddy Rumi says. He says, every forest branch moves differently in the breeze. Yet, as they sway, they are all connected at the roots. You know, here we are as individuals, and we think we're the one, only one, but we're all connected. We're all connected to the invisible source we cannot see. So we have to remember that. So when we're seeing things or just moving through this thing called life in whatever way we can, there's something so much greater going on. And when I say everything works out, it does. Life has a way of bringing things to balance and unity, and that's the most perfect expression of that agape love is the balance and the unity. It's not that everything's perfect, but it's the understanding that comes when we open ourselves to a greater experience of life, a greater experience. I want you to think about, and this actually came from a health website when I was looking up the healing power of love. And it came from a health website. And it talked about when we can look at our life, our worldview, and color it with love, that what comes up is appreciation, kindness, and empathy. Appreciation, kindness, and empathy for whatever is going on. And so this understanding that opens us up to something more doesn't just change our experiences, because, you know, the way we look at things depends on how we experience it, but it changes us on the inside. When we can color our life with the beautiful colors of love, all the colors, things change. The weird thing is, this thing we call love, we can't really see. We can see actions of it, but it's something we feel. I want to read you a quote by Ernest Holmes. He says, "Spirit is a light within us that we feel. It is warm, pulsating, and reciprocal. You can feel it. It's just something that moves. It awakens us. It's beautiful and it's colorful, and it presses against us because it wants to flow through us. It wants to move through us, and that's the idea of this. And he ends this by saying it cannot be put into words. You can only feel it. You can see it expressed as beauty, color, form, love, power. You can see that, but it's something we have to feel and hear first. I want you to close your eyes for just a minute. If we say that this love within us, now I don't know what experience brought any of us in here today. It could be just everything's going peachy keen and fine and great and good. It could be a problem that brought us in. It could be pain. It could be a family situation. It could be relationship. It could be health. It could be financial. There's so many things that kind of are stirred up in life right now. But if we go to that place within us, at the very center of our being, that touches, I want you to imagine this just in your mind's eye, touches that light that you see going into that prism, the light of spirit, of love, of goodness, of understanding, of wisdom, of creativity, of intelligence. It's that light that holds all of that, and it wants to be expressed through us. And if we connect to that light in us right now, whatever situation we have, whether it's confusion or sadness or pain or love and greatness and goodness, we want to continue. That light in us, that is the light of the one, can be dispersed into our life right now to bring clarity and understanding and a greater good. Just spend a moment right now and let that light of your innate goodness shine into whatever area it is of your life. Needs a little more clarity, a little more healing, a little more aliveness, because everyone benefits from the warmth, the color of that love that's within us to be expressed. I just invite you to do that now. And then open your eyes. And when Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, that's really truly an outpicturing of this universal agape love. It's when that deep love in us finds that in the people we see. We take the time not to let our mind keep going on what needs to be done or where we're going or what's happening or it's something else, but you let that light, that love in you deeply touch the person in front of you. So you recognize the oneness and the unity. You recognize it and you feel it. And that's what Jesus meant when we love God with all our heart, our soul, our mind, and we love each other from that place. There was, in Leo Buscaglia, Dr. Love, in his book, he had a story about love. And he said, a famous author and lecturer once talked about a contest he was asked to judge. Well, I'm pretty sure it must be his, right? Dr. Leo Buscaglia. And this is a story. There were so many of these stories in his book, but this one was just, it had a lot to do with that line, as Pope Francis said, we have forgotten how to weep. And this reminded me of that. I'd found this story this week. The purpose of the contest, this famous author and lecturer was to judge, was to find the most caring and loving child. And the winner was a 4-year-old boy whose next door neighbor was an elderly gentleman who had lost his wife recently. Upon seeing the man cry, the little boy went into the gentleman's yard, climbed onto his lap, and just sat there. When he came back home and his mother asked what he had said to his neighbor, the little boy said, Nothing. I just helped him cry. See, loving each other, the color of love, doesn't always mean it's bright and colorful and beautiful. It can be being there with someone at times of difficulty and just holding their hand and letting them be who they need to be. So in this time, as we close our time of the color of love, think about what the color of love is for you today. What color do you want to paint in the world today to make it more understanding, more beautiful, kinder? How can you paint that color? It can be as simple as giving a kind word to the person in front of you or back of you in line. Letting a person go in front of you when you really are in a hurry on the freeway or in the driving. Just some act of kindness and goodness and love that you know makes life better. And that's what my little book said here. Agape love is found in these, I want to read these religions to you so you know we're not alone. He said he didn't know this. He wrote this at 86. And he said it's in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, Native American spirituality. You can find agape love, God's love in all of those. And he said, love is where you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And you find yourself seeing the world with in a brighter light, in a better way. And you know, without question, that God loves all alike. And you are just as loved, and the person is just as loved as the person next to you. So on that note, William, there's a favorite song that both Kirk and I requested, and you said yes, and we are so loved. So I want to dedicate this song from William to each and every one of you.